me type it in the comments. Show is starting right now. All right. So, Jason Vong. Jason.
Well, I'm recovering from a lot of salty comments from my Casey Neistat video. I've been having PTSDs flashing with the comments that's happening in that video right now that I have to turn off notifications, comment notifications, email notifications, and all that good jazz, so I don't wake up to some ugly comment in the morning or while I'm eating dinner or sitting in a restroom.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if some of you guys have seen that video yet, but that video for Jason has exploded, and whether it's good or bad for him, he's definitely growing his channel. So
I think
very proud of him. Very proud.
I think it's doing well. I think despite a lot of the nasty comments, I think it's a video that's brought me a lot of attention, a lot of new viewers who's interested in the Sony market. So.
And the fact that Casey Neistat is just doing Sony stuff, like he's using that kind of gear, it just makes it, your videos will pop up on the side, or, you know, related videos are more likely. And because he's such a big influencer, people are going to start searching for Sony stuff.
Yeah.
And you want to be that person that they go to for that content and that information. So I think right now, if you're trying to build your channel, Sony might be a very interesting way to go. And I think there was another vlogger, Sarah Dici, I think. I don't know. There was another, I don't recall the name, but I think she also did a video that's saying she's going from Canon to Sony. So Sony is picking up. I think some influencers are there, but Canon is still a pretty big juggernaut as well as Nikon. But
yeah,
we shall see. So as far as myself, I'm not as stressed as I was before. I'm on spring break right now from school. I have some time off so I can work on some videos. I just recently released a video today. Finally, the dry spell is over. Thank goodness I have finally released a video to the, hopefully not to the chagrin of many of the viewers that I have. And it's a comparison of the Sony 85 and the 85 bodice that some of you might have questions about. But things are looking good. I've got some more videos planned down the pipeline, and hopefully I can keep producing some content. But other than that, I am reasonably stress-free, so I can make some videos this week and plan them out.
Very nice.
So, all right, folks. Right now, those of you on the live stream, we are jumping into the segment called New Gear. And if you got any new gear, whatever it happens to be, please post them into the live chat. If you pick something up, maybe it's a lens, a camera, anything, an accessory, please let us know, and we'll jump into the live chat to go ahead and take a look at what that might be. And I guess we'll jump first to Jason with his new gear of the week.
Pretty relatively tame. I got a new, well, not the new Peak Design bag. I've had this for a while, but I don't know if you guys can see it right here. This is the capture clip. I actually have one already, but I picked up a second one because I use the Peak Design backpack and I use the Peak Design messenger bag. And I swap between those bags pretty often. Backpack is when I'm like out doing very casual stuff. Messenger bags when I go out and do gigs and stuff. So have this nice capture clip. I don't want to obviously keep taking it off my backpack and put it on my messenger bag and vice versa. So I dropped $80 just to buy another one. And what I really like about their capture clip is that it works really well for like mirrorless setup. So I can just attach my camera to this thing. There you go. And it's just easy for me to just grab my camera and start working. And it empties the spaces in my bag, and I can put more lenses here. So it's been incredibly helpful for weddings, for concerts, and all that good stuff. So this is a product that I highly recommend from Peak Design. And I'm going to actually make a video about it sometime very soon, hopefully within the next 2 weeks, talking about it. So that's my new piece of gear for this week.
All right, some questions on that, Jason. When you have it attached to the side of the bag, is it pretty solid? Does it shake?
Okay, yeah, it's pretty solid. So there's these two clamping bolts right here that you can tighten it. And it's very secure. I haven't had any issues with it. I'm not sure if you've ever used the spider clip.
I haven't.
So the spider clip is very similar to the Peak Design one, except it's a lot. To me, it feels a lot more flimsy because they have a little nut right here on the bottom of your camera, and you put it on your belt or you put it in a backpack, and they can swing, and that kind of makes me nervous. But with the Peak Design one, it's very secure. It's very secure. It doesn't come off. It doesn't wobble too much, so that's what I like about it.
And you said you can actually do 2 of them. Is that what you said on the bag itself?
I got 2 of them, one for the backpack and one for the messenger bag.
Got it. Could you attach one on the other side of that bag, or it just goes to that one side?
Just that one side. I mean, I think you can put it on the other end. Though, yeah, you can definitely put it on the other end, but it's gonna be awkward for me to have it on both ends. Right now it's kind of attached to the front, so I have an eye on it. I can easily just grab the camera.
And it's pretty easy just to take the camera off and you're ready to go.
I struggle a little bit sometimes, but I rather struggle trying to take the camera out for like a little bit than it being easily detachable and drop should anything happen. So
yeah,
it's secure for sure. But with that said, I wouldn't attach a G Master lens on my camera and have it on my backpack or my messenger bag, because that's just asking for trouble. But for the most part, for light mirrorless setup, I think it works really well.
So the thing I'm wondering is,
and just to show
what's wrong with just like picking up the flap and grabbing the camera out of there and having it set? Is it just make you feel a little bit more agile, just ready to go, or
just more for space and just agile in general, just like being able to grab the camera and just like ready to shoot. So space is definitely one of the biggest thing, and being quick on my feet is another. This is specifically for photography, of course. So
yeah, I mean, for me, I just never find myself in a situation to use it, but my stuff's usually set down. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm like bouncing right now. It's pretty secure. Nothing's going to fall off. Pretty tight. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. So a little struggle right there you saw, but for the most part, it's not bad.
Yeah, I was kind of counting the time there a little bit, trying to see how long it's going to take you to get that off of there. But, you know what I usually do? I'll usually carry I'll just use a neck strap. It's probably pretty dangerous because it just kind of swings around the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's just kind of how I've done it. But with the mirrorless cameras, because it's pretty light, except when you start getting those G Master lenses on there, then it just kind of adds a bit.
Yeah, so I wouldn't attach to G Master. I mean, like 24 to 70, okay, but 70 to 200 is asking for trouble. There's like literally an image on Peak Design where someone has it on their belt, and they mount like a Nikon and a Nikon 70 to 200. And I'm like, I'm never gonna be doing that. That's too dangerous.
You know, I'm really terrible with that kind of stuff as far as like setup. I'll have my 6500 and I'll have the 70 to 200 G Master on here,
mm-hmm.
and I'll hold it from here. I'll hold it from this sometimes.
Just one hand or two hands?
Just one hand. I'm just holding it like this, and I'm just waiting for that mount to break off. But I like to live dangerously sometimes. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments if any of you guys are crazy like me and just do that with a really heavy lens.
There are people who always ask me that question. It's like, wow, how is it for one-handed operations? I'm like, I don't know. I usually use my camera stuff with two hands. One, for more stability, and two, stability.
Let's do it right now. Let's just do the test since we're live. So here we go.
Please
70 to 200. Let's see if the mount breaks. It's doing okay. Doing okay.
You can hold that for the entire show.
For the whole show, we're going to hold this up for the entire show. So we'll see. No, I'm not going to do that. But
you're going to tire yourself out.
It just breaks. I'll be sad. I do feel like the mount on the 6500 is a little sturdier on the than the 6300. The 6500 is a little sturdier.
Oh, nice.
I think that's the vibe I get. It feels a little more solid. All right.
Cool.
in the comments section if anyone has posted anything they recently picked up.
Cool.
Do you guys think the follow focus works? Hello, guys. Aesthetic progression. Do you guys think the follow focus works in Alpha 6500 for video? Follow focus. Jason?
Is he talking about an actual follow focus, that contraption that you mount onto like a shoulder cam or something?
Unless they mean like touch to focus.
Touch to focus?
You've used that, right? And you've been pretty happy with it?
I don't use it too often, but yeah, from what I tested out, it worked pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really comment. I mean, I don't really use the touch to focus too much, really at all. Aesthetic progression. So,
I personally
but autofocus is.
Yeah, I personally find the face detection to work better.
All right, Hubert Bobro. If you had a choice of cameras between the Sony A7R2 and the GH4, which one would you get? The A7R2 and the GH4. Jason?
Well, I personally moved from the GH4 to the A7R2, so that would be my answer. If you guys have been following us for a while now, I've always said I was looking for the perfect hybrid camera, the one that can shoot great stills and take 4K videos. GH4 had great videos, but in my opinion, not that great of stills. So the Sony kind of came in a clutch for that, really saved me. Really liking the system right now. So A7R2 all the way.
Yeah, Hubert, if it was me, I mean, my progression was I was sticking with Canon. I was like, you know what? Canon's going to do 4K video. They kind of didn't for a while. I picked up a C100 to kind of satiate what I wanted as far as video quality. Wasn't really happy with it. I picked up the GH4 and the G7s and really loved the 4K, but the low light performance was kind of a problem and having to adapt everything. And then finally, I jumped ship to the Sony Alpha 6300, and the rest is history. So I would go for the A7R2. I think a really good question would be between the A7R2 and the GH5. So, folks, in the comments section below, let me know what you would do. Would you get the A7R2 or the GH5? Which one would you pick? We are going to talk about the GH5 a little later in the show, but
get that.
Jason, without getting into too much detail, which one would you get?
I'm too far deep in with Sony right now, so
If you were starting brand new.
If I was starting brand new, oh man, I'm just gonna have to go with Sony still. Like I said, the stills capability and the videos.
Yeah, I agree. We'll get into more of the GH5 fiasco a little later. So let's continue on. George Murray, I have the Alpha 6500 and the 14 to 70 F4 isn't cutting it. I think that's a 16 to 70. I need something faster. I have the Metabone Smart Adapter 4. I'm looking for something good for video and photos with decent autofocus. I would look. I mean, my initial direction would be to look at Sigma lenses. I don't know how well they work with the Metabone Smart Adapter or whether or not you can pick up the MC11, but I hear there's like even the Sigma 30mm f1.4 works really well. I've had luck with my Sigma 17 to 50 f2.8 if you need something that's faster than the current lens that you have. Those are just some suggestions. So hopefully Jason can find something right now.
You need something faster, generally with a good focal length. Decent average focal length. 24 1.8, great for video. I love it a lot. 1.8, pretty fast. I actually like it more than the Sigma 18 to 35 just because of the size, but other people have commented that the Sigma seems to have better color and a little bit sharper than the 24, but by a very little bit. But I still like my 24 1.8. Great lens, great for videos, and great for photos. Perfect for gimbal work, because I think you mentioned the June Crane M, so that's going to work really well. So 24 1.8 would be my pick for you.
And Steve's got a question here. He says, I've been using the 2470 G Master on the tripod a lot this week. I feel bad having all that weight hanging off that poor little mount. Do you think it can handle it?
I think so. I've been using the 2470 a lot at weddings so far. Yeah, still fine. Doesn't seem like there's any issue with it. Nothing seems to be breaking or chipping.
Yeah, I just know that what's his name? The name that shall not be mentioned. I mean the angry photographer.
Oh my god.
The angry photographer was talking about the Sony Alpha mount, which was poorly designed and it wasn't really very good. But like I said, I haven't had any issues with the mounts on my cameras, and I've had large lenses attached to the front of it. So I don't know. I think time will tell. But Steve, I think you have pro support, right? So you should be fine, right?
Here's my question: has there ever been a case where someone reported that their mount got wrecked because of the G Master lenses?
I haven't heard anything.
Right?
So
I mean, I feel like if that was a serious issue, even just for like hype's sake or like whatever, just for publicity's sake, someone would have put a video out there that, oh man, my G Master completely ripped the mount off my A7R or something. I'm sure that would have been surfaced by now, but I don't think it has happened. So I think we're underestimating the strength of the Sony mount.
Yeah, I feel very secure with the mount, but like I said, time will tell, and hopefully it's not a problem. All right, we're going to still keep tackling some of those questions, and just don't forget, for those of you that just jumped to the live stream, if you could really help myself and Jason out, please consider giving the video a thumbs up to get some more visibility. And definitely, I'm pretty sure you're already subscribed to Jason Vong's channel. I don't think you need to say anything. I think you've already following him. But if you are asking a question, please put a question mark at the end. I'm just using the control find feature on the chat, and that will let me jump to the next question that we're going to go to. But we're going to jump back into the news now, I think, and we'll get back to the questions in a little bit. So this new lens that I got just finally came in. It was actually delayed, which kind of frustrated me, but I finally got it. It was the 85 Sony. Woo! And I said I was going to review it, and I did, and somehow I managed to make a video. I stirred up the courage to get back to YouTubing, and I finally made one. And so we're jumping into the news portion right now, and Jason and I are going to go ahead and share our experience. And holy moly, Breaking Elegance has just dropped $2 in Super Chat. Breaking Elegance, thank you for that. We really appreciate it. $1 for me and $1 for Jason Vong.
Probably 80 cents. After Google takes their cut.
That is true.
All good.
All right. So
thank you for coffee, Breaking Elegance. I appreciate that.
All right, Jason, we are now on the 85. Now, you had the chance to do the review a lot sooner. You picked it up from Pro Support. What are just some of your initial thoughts, and kind of summarize what you got out of that Sony 85 on your end?
First off, the lens was a little bigger than what I've remembered, but still a very decent size for an 85. It's actually very tiny and compact. So right off the bat, I mean, mounting it on the A7R2 and the A6500, it's very comfortable in the hand. It looks like a very nice, well-rounded package right here. But upon using it, between the 100 STF and the 85, I thought I would actually enjoy using the 100 STF a lot more because it's a G Master lens and a nice bokeh and whatnot. But to my surprise, I actually had a blast using the 85-1.8 for both videos and stills. This guy really packs a lot of punches for what it's worth. I think a lot of people are really just highly recommending this lens, and I can attest to that this lens is good. 100 STF on the other hand, maybe I'll save it for another time. I tried testing out that lens, but I ain't getting as much info and research and results and all that good stuff like I did on the 85-1.8. So I'm truly impressed with what this lens is capable of.
Again, if you haven't seen it already, Jason Vong's video that he did, he compared that, the Sony 85 and the G Master, and holy smokes, the image quality with especially that Explorer 600, right? Is that what it's called?
The Flashpoint Explorer 600 or Godox.
Yeah, it came out really nice. I mean, there was probably more detail than those people were probably wanting to see. when when
Really?
you zoomed into the detail, I'm like, those people probably didn't think it was going to be that sharp, but it was very sharp.
Oh yeah, I was.
Usually,
I'm hoping none of the cosplayers are gonna contact me and tell me to remove the blown up photos of their faces where you see all the blemishes. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But yeah,
yeah. In other words, man, in terms of sharpness, that lens looked on par with the G Master. So I think if anyone's concerned about the overall quality, I think it's on par with that.
I mean, just look at the size. I mean, like you're getting
Um,
really good quality you're getting really good quality from this lens, very similar to this one at 1.7. So the size of this being like crazy significant. This is a no brainer for sure. But what about you,
and
Dan?
by the way, those of you on the chat, before I jump into my point, if you have any questions about the Sony 85 or the Bodice or even the G Master, please throw them down while we're talking about this topic now. And when we jump back to the chat, we'll take a look at those.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I pushed out a video today, and overall, I really liked the Sony 85. It is with the exception of the stabilization, I think you're getting a little more bang for buck with the 85. And I made it very specific in my video to point out that you get the focus hold button and you get an autofocus autofocus and manual focus switch. And I don't know about you, Jason, but dials really make me happy. And being able to press these things,
Oh yeah,
it's just nice to have it on the bodice. I tell you, there's nothing on here. I know they were going for a really elegant design, but the OLED is practically useless for me. It looks great, but in terms of function, I don't get a lot out of it other than the optical stabilization on this lens.
Yeah.
For me, the autofocus was spot on, worked really well. I thought the image quality was comparable, if not similar, to the Bodice 85, especially the autofocus rendering.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say save the $500 to $600 and grab the Sony 85. That's how I would look at it.
I'm looking at your video. I haven't watched your video yet, but I'm gonna watch it after this. But from what I'm looking at really quickly, the previews, I mean, size wise, and you know, you holding them on both your hands. I mean, is the new 85 significantly thinner or a little bit thinner than the Bodice?
There's this part where I talk about the actual tripod mounts, because if you have this on a 6500 or an A6000 body, if you have a full tripod mount, a tripod plate, it gets in the way. It won't fit.
Ouch.
It won't fit correctly.
Ouch.
Unfortunately, this also still has the same problem.
Okay.
But the bulge is smaller on it, and I point out in the video, there's no problems with the A7 II series cameras. If you mount it on an A7 II camera, it clears it. The tripod plate clears it, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. Just with the A6000 series, there's a little issue there.
Okay.
So
very cool.
But construction-wise, it's pretty solid, right? I mean, I thought it. I mean, it's not bad. It's.
My question to you is: are you gonna sell your Bodice now?
I'm gonna get the G Master.
You're gonna get the G Master.
185. I'll just take all three. No,
take all three.
You know, that's the hard part. Since I bought the lens, I know like what in like 3 or 4 months the price is gonna drop like another $100 to $200 or something, like another $100.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I probably don't mind selling the Bodice. I never took off the sticker. I don't know if it's an Asian thing too, right? I just left the sticker on here. So
I ripped that off. I'm like, oh, this is ugly. Get this out of here.
I left it on there for resale value, so it looks like someone's getting a new lens.
And actually, I'm not even gonna mention this in my next video. I was going to, but I'm seriously debating to sell my G Master and just go for the new 85. I think for me personally, since most of my gigs are video anyways and not that much portrait photography, the 85 just kind of works well in my favor in terms of price and size. For portrait work, I mean, you guys saw it from my WonderCon video. The quality is very comparable to the G Master, so I can get away with just shooting portraits with that lens. The only thing that's really stopping me, of course, is the 1.4 aperture from the G Master, but for serious. I think I really like the new 85 a lot, and this is actually more beneficial to me as a hybrid shooter than the G Master. But I'm interested in what
I really
people are saying.
That's a really good point because that lens, the 1.4 is nice. If you're at, like you said, you're not really doing portraits as a day in day out kind of thing, and it's not kind of your main thing. The 1.8, the stuff you did look good. I mean, even with the lighting plus the lens combination, it just looked really good.
The only thing I want to comment on one more thing too, the bokeh on the G Master is beautiful. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. Those balls on those bokeh are smooth and round. The 85 1.8 here, the cat shape eyes, they kind of bother me a little bit. But yeah, that's what I'll add to my comment.
Whatever helps you sleep at night with that $1,700 lens. I would sell it. Hey, chat, what should Jason do? Should he just sell the lens and just keep the Sony? I think he should. That way he can get another lens to review. That's the way I would look at it. So
no lens in the arsenal.
Because everyone's kind of done the whole 85 thing. That's just what I would say. And I think with Pro Support, he can probably just loan out that 85 when he needs it, right? So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into the chat and see what in the world is going on. And let's see what they have been saying. Let's see here. Zoom Chris. Hey, Zoom Chris. He says, why is Danny elongated? Is he using a CCTV camera? Yes, Zoom Chris. No, I have no idea. I'm actually shooting with the Alpha 6500. I've got the 10-18. And my Elgato capture card is just doing this really weird thing on Google Hangouts. I don't know why, but that's what's going on.
I didn't have that issue with mine, so I don't know what's going on over in your end.
I don't know. I think they said to just uninstall the game capture software and reinstall it. So I got to go and take a look at that.
For sure.
Breaking Elegance says something about living life dangerously. I think that's in reference to some stuff that I was talking about with, what's it, holding the
7200.
Yeah. Let's see here. People were talking about, remember when we were deciding on which one they would get, the GH5 or the A7R2? Chris Creek says A7R2. Breaking Elegance also says the A7R2.
Yes.
There's some chatter. There's some chatter about waiting after April 23rd, and I think that's kind of the best call right now. Just hold out for 13 more days, see what Sony is probably going to do. And I'm sure Sony Alpha rumors will probably know like a few days before it happens.
Yeah.
So I think within a few days before that date, you'll know exactly what's going to go down. But save your pennies and just wait. Let's see. Aesthetic Progression also picked up the Sony 50mm f1.8 for crop. Oh, the crop one. I don't own the crop one, Aesthetic Progression, so I don't have a really good response for that. I don't know if Jason's ever got to use either of those.
No, that's the crop lens that I probably won't own. Yeah, because even though it's 50 mil, it says 50mm, but crop, it's still going to be 85-ish on your camera, right? But if you get a full frame 50 and put it on your APS-C camera, that's still 85, right, Danny?
The real focal length, it's always going to be an 85, regardless of. Wait, sorry, we're talking about repeat what again? What you were talking about?
So,
the 50mm, right?
So he said there's a crop 50 1.8 and there's a full frame 50 1.8. So if you put the crop 50 1.8 on your APS-C, it's still not 50. It's still 85, right?
Effective focal length is 85, but it's really still a 50. That's just how it apparently works.
But the full frame, if you put the full frame 50 on the APS-C, that's also still effectively 85, right?
If you put the 50, which one? The full frame 50?
Both.
Or the crop 50?
But so both of them still equates to 85 is what I'm saying. Or is what
the effective reach will be an 85 on that scenario if you put it for APS-C.
And then that's my answer. That's my my verdict on it is just go with the full frame.
The one benefit with that 50 though was that it had optical stabilization.
Which
The
one?
Crop 50.
The smaller one? Oh, okay.
The APS-C 50. So I would see the reason to go for that one instead of the full frame. But if you have a body with optical in-body image stabilization, then I would just go straight to the full frame one.
Yeah.
Mohammed Assad 88. Hey Mohammed, I saw you commenting on my video recently. If there was no G Master 85, which one would you get? Would you get the Bodice or the Sony? Jason, I think I know your answer, but which one would you get?
G-Master, yeah, save on the money. 8518, the Sony one.
Yeah, I know, Mohammed. You're shooting for that. You really want the most quality out of the lens. I'm willing to compromise on it. I'm just not a big stickler for the. I mean, I love the detail. I love sharpness in the lenses. That's always a great thing. But I can live with a little bit of issues with the lens at the end of the day. And by the way, that was something I didn't point out, Jason, was that when I did my review, I noticed that the Zeiss controlled chromatic aberration a little bit better.
Okay.
And it was a little bit more pronounced on the Sony, but it was a little bit more controlled on the Zeiss.
Okay.
So it was just a little thing there. But for me, I could fix that in Lightroom or something. Yeah. It wasn't going to be a deal breaker. But for video, it could be a problem. But it's the way I would look at it. Hubert says, I wish I could afford the G Master lenses. I'm so sorry, Hubert. Is there, and he also asks, is there a Bodice Sony A mount?
No, I think it's only E mount.
Unless there's like a Zeiss version. I don't know. And Matt Fan, he says Bodice is only E mount only. I'm the Brown. Hey, what's up, man? He said, nah, dudes. Remember I was talking about the sticker that I leave on the the Bodice. He said, I leave stickers on everything.
Yeah, my TV remote is saran wrapped. So,
you know, I do live dangerously. I don't know about you, but do you have do you have a filter on your 85 G Master?
No.
No?
Going naked.
Wow.
Naked. I think my run and gun lenses have a filter on it just for protection because it's run and gun. I'm throwing it in my bag and everything, so it needs to come out right away. It needs to start shooting right away. So I'm going to be throwing it around. So I have a filter for those lenses. But for like, you know, this guy right here, I don't do too much run and gun with it. This is like very planned. Like, oh, I'm going to use this for something, for portrait or something. Then I obviously want the best looking image that I can without any sort of other sort of filters to kind of ruin the image. I mean, I'm not a big stickler for that, but this one for the 85, no, I don't have a filter on it. What about you?
Good one. Chat, let me know in the chat. Do you put filters on your lenses? Are you crazy like Jason Vong? Do you not put filters on there? Let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. You know what? I don't have filters on my Bodice. I didn't put a filter on the Sony 85. I do have a filter on the 70-200 though.
Okay.
I'm not the most careful person, so I will usually just chuck things right into my bag, and there's loose things sometimes inside my bag. And I'm like, I'm just waiting for that to just like slap onto that lens and just scratch that element in the front. Image quality won't be a problem, but possible resale issues could be. But I just put on the most expensive glass that I have. That's just me. But I get you though. I wouldn't put one on the 85 G Master if I wanted absolute quality out of that lens. All right. George Murray, 85mm 1.8 is equal to 135mm f2.8 on APS-C. Is that how that works? George, I think that was a big giant debate between the name we shall not mention and Tony and Chelsea Northrup about the effective f-stop. I don't recall exactly, but you're right about the effective field of view, like the effective focal length, about 135. So that's what I would see.
That's a very touchy subject that I try not to think about because it hurts my brain. So I just look at the focal length. I don't look at the f-stop.
All right, folks, we're going to jump back to those questions. We're going to jump back into the news because we've got the fireball of today, or the big elephant in the room, and
Daddy
that
wants to start
is
some fight.
the GH5 autofocus issue. I know we are a Sony sort of related podcast here, but we do want to talk about it because I remember all the GH5 people were hating on the Sony people, saying how the GH5 was so great, which it is, but now they're having some auto-focusing issues. And look at here, and they're making comparisons to Sony and Canon and how good their continuous autofocus is.
Woo!
Jason, can you break the ice here and tell us a little bit about what in the world is going on with this situation?
I don't know. There apparently is a lot of drama happening on the YouTube world and the Facebook world in regards to the GH5 autofocus. I think a lot of people are saying when the GH5 was being announced, all the demos and all that good stuff, they're touting the autofocus works extremely, extremely well. I personally saw it firsthand in Japan at CP Plus that the autofocus works pretty darn well. I mean, like they had a diorama train running around and it kept focus really well. And finally, when the actual cameras hit store shelf and at people's doors, people are saying the autofocus just doesn't work that well. And I was actually pretty surprised, and I can't believe I didn't know about this before, that the GH5 uses contrast detection for focusing. If you guys don't know, the A7S II also uses contrast detection. Therefore, the autofocus just didn't work as well as the A7R2 and the A6500 did. So, yeah, it's it's kind of disappointing.
You know, like I've said, and even in the video that I did, there's a lot of compelling reasons to get a GH5. The video formats, the bit rate, all of that features. The 4K 60p is just looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard to go back to. I know when I had a GH4, I never used the continuous autofocus. I was just manually pulling focus on the GH4 because I was adapting lenses.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the whole autofocus thing is really not that, blown out for what it's to be. I mean, most people are going to probably be using it pulling focus, but it does suck for a lot of the people who are one-man teams. Basically, they only got one person. They put the camera in front of them. Like right now, I have my Sony camera in front of me, and it's autofocusing and face tracking my face. But if the Panasonic GH5 can barely do that, that's really a shame. But it's not a deal. I wouldn't say it's a complete deal breaker, but it's going to affect a lot of people.
It's not a complete deal breaker. I mean, when I heard about the GH5, I was actually excited for GH5, but I've never held the GH5 with high regards in terms of its autofocus, because I know GH4 didn't have the best autofocus. But when you tap the screen, it will pull focus and then post focus just fine. But if you're expecting it to like track your subject or, detect a face, lock onto that face really well, like the Sony does, then yeah, you're just going to be in for a disappointment. But for, like you said, I mean, you were adapting lenses on your GH4 anyways. I think a large majority of the people who uses the GH4 have been adapting lenses. So moving on to the GH5 is the right transition for them. It's the right upgrade. But for people who are looking to use this camera for YouTube, for content creation, like what we're doing, for YouTube, one-man team and all that good jazz, it's not going to be the best. I mean, the flip screen would definitely help out a lot. But if we want reliable autofocus, we're going to have to stick with the Sonys.
Yeah, if that continuous autofocus is something that you need, I would love to test the Panasonic GH5. I love doing a continuous autofocus test with sports. So I doubt Panasonic's watching this, but if you'd love to send me a unit, I'd love to test it out and prove everybody wrong and find the exact correct settings and help you sell more GH5. So if Panasonic, you're listening, please, I'd love to just go ahead and test that autofocus situation out and prove everybody wrong. Because maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But it seems to be that it is just a problem. And by the way, I think it was either Max that mentioned it, Max Europe. the manual says that the autofocusing is reduced. The ability for it to autofocus is reduced when shooting in 4K.
Ugh.
And it says it's not an error. It's actually normal for it to underperform when you're recording in 4K. And I think that was it. That was kind of the.
I mean, it's a shame because the face detection, the autofocus still works really well in 4K for the Sony camera. So it's quite a bummer. But at the end of the day,
Jason, a question for you.
It's not
with regards to shooting weddings and video. How are you using continuous autofocus in certain situations?
Oh yeah, of course. I have it on spot focusing. That tends to work the best for me since there's just so many faces going on at weddings. I don't know if registering of faces works in video mode, but for the most part, I keep it on a spot focusing and track the bride with that, and it's working. It's been working fairly well for me. I have no complaints with it.
Oh boy, GH5, folks. I'm still waiting for April 23rd and what Sony's going to drop. And I have a feeling that everyone's going to start rethinking their orders on the GH5. But that's just me.
I mean, at the end of the day, filmmakers, anybody who's used to manual focusing, they're going to love the GH5. The GH5 is delivering very hard. So it's just a shame that the autofocus isn't on par with the rest of the other stuff that they are offering within that camera.
This is a topic, and before, when continuous autofocus was becoming a thing, I was hardcore manual focusing. And I don't know, for those of you in the chat, like, what's your thoughts on it? Are you still on the whole manual focusing, or do you think that continuous autofocus is the way to go nowadays? But man, I was just hardcore manual focusing because that's how I was doing work with the Canon cameras, was manual focusing. But damn, the autofocus has just gotten so good on the Sonys and Canon cameras now that you depend on it for certain scenarios.
Yeah, Philip Bloom also depends on it on his videos too. So it's becoming a thing where professionals would use the autofocus on their cameras.
Yeah, and also for gimbal work, right? I mean, if you're doing gimbal work, and continuous autofocus can come in handy.
Oh yeah.
Because you don't need that separate person pulling focus anymore on your system. You can let the camera kind of figure it out for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
All right, let's jump to the comments and see if you got any commentary on that.
I'm seeing some shiz.
George Murray says the GH5 equals gone hunting 5 days a week. Ouch. George, you are very, very harsh.
Brutal.
Muhammad Assad 88 says, Danny, I just followed you on Instagram. Thank you. I appreciate it. And what's Jason's Instagram username? I think Steve dropped that down there. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. You're the best, man.
Peptic asks, do you still recommend the Sony A7 II or the Sony Alpha 6500? That's a tough one. I would just ask, what do you shoot? So if you're doing portraits, A7 II. If you're doing some sports and you need good continuous autofocus for video, get the Alpha 6500. That's what I would say. Jason, what do you think?
A6500. That's just because I only have experience with A6500.
Good call. Good call. Yeah, I would lean towards the 6500 unless you really do portraits and you really need that. So that's what I would say. Chris Cheek says GH5 has issues as well with editing in post.
Oh, what kind of issues?
I heard about that. The format is having issues. You can't see a thumbnail. You got to either convert the file to a different file type, I believe, something along those lines.
But I think that's more on Adobe's, or actually the editing software's end, than it is on the GH5. So we'll see.
Excuse me. All right. Zoom Chris says, guys, this camera is $2,000. Really? Autofocus issues only mentioned in the online extended user manual. That's right. It's in the extended manual. It's not in the manual they send you. It's in the extended one. And after all the craziness, people sold their cameras to get the GH5, which is the messiah of the video world, and it's becoming a disappointment. That's what Zoom Chris says.
I mean, again, I think the whole autofocus thing is just being blown out of proportion. It's still a great camera. But again, Zoom Chris, you and I, you, me, and Danny, we shoot YouTube videos, so we can't depend on the GH5 to lock on the autofocus for us. So again, for films, GH5 is still pretty beast, in my opinion.
Let's see here. EC Lundberg says, but the 6500 doesn't have in-camera stabilization, right? It does.
It has in volume.
It does. It does. Nick Lawrence says, hey, Danny, did you talk to Jason about the G85? Nick, I actually wrote that down in our Q&A section as far as the question we will be taking a look at, and hopefully Jason can give some input into that question when we jump to that portion.
In that case, I want to do some research right now.
Breaking Elegance says epic fail on the GH5. Yeah, let's not be too harsh. Like I said, for example, people shoot with the red camera now. There's people stepping up to the red. I don't think that has any continuous autofocus at all. But then again, those YouTubers that are at that level can afford to hire a video operator, a camera operator. So that is a different story.
I think, yeah, I was rewatching Philip Bloom's autofocus video, and he says the FS5, it's an amazing camera, Sony FS5, but the autofocus doesn't even work well on that camera either. So
I don't know. I don't know what they need to do. Maybe Panasonic should hit up Canon and get the dual pixel tech from them or something. I don't know.
I'm sure Sony's going to step up. So come on.
Yeah. Dude, I'm just waiting and waiting. I'm A9, whatever, A7 III. I'm excited.
Right now, 6K face detection, triple pixel autofocus.
Triple pixel autofocus.
I don't even know what I'm telling you.
Man, I just want to see a flip out screen. It's not necessary, but it'd be nice.
I'm not holding my breath. I'm just gonna be like, I gave up. I gave up with them putting out a flip out screen for the A7 cameras.
Yeah, I feel like it's not gonna happen. All right, we're gonna jump back to the news very briefly. We won't dive into this too much, but there was a video with Dave Doug Dale. He talked about this issue he was having with his Alpha 6500. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he was having a trouble with his Alpha 6500 and having IBIS on, right? And what would happen was
it would cause this like weird ripple or jump in his thing. Like if he like pans a little bit up, you'll see like almost like the sensor just bounced a little bit, causing the image to like bounce itself. So it's kind of weird, and I think that's sort of like his specific camera only. Only his camera was having that issue.
Yeah, it was just that there was a weird jitter, and it was going on in his video. I'm not going to try and play it because I don't want it to crash. But yeah, it was just, he was just having that issue. But I tried it out, and I did not have any problems with it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, when I use my 6500, the rolling shutter is kind of pretty dang bad, but for the most part, it wasn't as bad as Doug's. So you just have to be very, very careful. Don't do any like fast pans and all that stuff, and you should be fine.
yeah, I think he's just gonna have to send it in. I think that's what the problem is. It's just an issue on his end. All right, we're gonna jump to this next news story here. Craig Adams, how do you say that?
Sirui Monopod?
Sirui? Oh, is it Japanese or what is it?
Actually, I think they're a Chinese brand because they have a lot of Chinese people at booth at CP Plus. So I'm assuming they're a Chinese brand.
So Craig Adams, Sirui Monopod review. Jason, go ahead and you pulled up that story. Go ahead and share a little bit about it.
All right, so the reason why I brought this up is because I shot with Craig Adams. For you guys who don't know Craig Adams, he does Wedding Film School. We shot BTS. Well, I shot BTS for him, and my friend Eric shot second shot hit the wedding for him. So the BTS is finally out. I think we shot this last year. For the most part, I think he kind of like repurposed the video for the monopod review. So it's the same exact monopod I have. Really highly recommended, actually. He put together a really awesome review on the monopod. But I also want to do a shameless plug that I shot the BTS. So if you guys can show some love, head over to his video. I don't know, leave a comment about me or something. That would be greatly appreciated by, showing some support for me. Type in something like, I don't know, what is it? Can't go wrong with Jason Vong or something. Type that in.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to jump to that video. Actually, I can go and post the link in the show notes. If you are on a PC or computer or something, I went in and posted that link on the live chat. I'm just going to go ahead and go there right now and post "Can't Go Wrong with Jason Vong" on that video. That's crazy. You said it was about a year ago, you said?
Well, maybe 8 months. It was quite some time ago, but it's finally out. I mean, like, I understand because, like, he has to do the wedding first, and then he's got to push out behind the edits, and he has to do a whole bunch of stuff, and then having to cull through almost 8 hours worth of BTS footage. That's just insane. So it's finally out now. I'm very excited. It was a great video. I think he did a great job. It not only delivered a great review on the monopod, but also really showed the day of the wedding. So he did a really good job. Really different from what his standard BTS wedding was.
We got some questions really quick. Hey, Dave, thanks for joining the stream. George said, how much is it?
So you can get the 204. I believe it's the 204 non-carbon fiber version for about, you know what? I was going to say $200, but I could be wrong. Let me see. 204. The one I specifically have, $160. So this is the non-carbon fiber version. For the carbon fiber version, it's another $100 more, but it is a lot lighter. Just to really, I should have summarized this really quick, what the monopod is. Let me go ahead and bring it out. So this is almost as good as a tripod. I have it right here. I have it mounted on a light. So pretty much right now, the light, I'll go ahead and turn this off.
Ooh.
I mean, it can just literally stand on its own. It can support itself. You can just kind of like leave it. It's not even a tripod. This is what it looks like with the legs. They're very nice and long, so they sit pretty comfortably on the floor. So for mirrorless, Sony mirrorless cameras, this is sturdy enough to hold them. I mean, I wouldn't leave them alone. I mean, you could leave them alone and let them stand on its own with like a light setup. But if you're in like crowded area, I probably wouldn't leave it alone. But for the most part, if it's unmanned, you station it in some corner, it should be fine. So this is one of the best monopod I've used. So just to make sure you guys.
How high does it go, roughly?
Oh, man, let me see. I'm sure there's a specific number on the internet, but I'm about 5'8", so that's how high it goes. About 5'6", maybe. Someone convert that.
Have you had issues where the segments start to sag down if you have a heavier camera kit on the top of it?
No, for the most part, I've never had it sag down unless I didn't tighten it. But for the most part, the only issue I have with this is the twist lock. That's the only thing I don't like about this monopod is the twist. I like the Manfrotto one where you can just unclick and then it just like, extends out. But yeah.
See, I have the Manfrotto one, but that one starts to sag. But then again, I put like a 120 to 300 lens on it, so a pretty big lens. And then I think the Benro one also sags too. I have a Benro one as well.
That's
that I
weird.
use. Yeah, either I just don't know how to tighten it, but I was trying to tighten it down, and it just kept sagging. It's kind of frustrating, honestly. All right, we have some questions on it though.
Sure.
Someone asked, Kevin Lee Baker said, are the legs floppy when they're folded, like Craig mentioned? So
yes.
When they're folded, how are they?
Well, I think I was discussing that with him in the video. So floppy. I don't know. Is that what he's talking about? It being floppy when it's folded? Yeah, kind of. But for the most part, to me, it's very secure. It doesn't really bother me too much. Yeah.
Would you trust your A7R2 on there with your 2470?
There are a few times where I've actually done that. I would get really extremely nervous when that happens, but so far nothing bad has happened. And I will say this: I've almost dropped my 70 to 200 when I had it mounted on this thing. So luckily someone saved it. It was when I was shooting the photo walk for Manny and Francisco and Kedron. So that was not fun.
Can you just imagine having it at a wedding? You got little kids running around.
Yeah. I would never leave this too unattended, but again, if I station it at some corner, it's fine.
Well, Sirui, hopefully you sponsor Jason at some point as he's plugging you guys. Don't know if you're watching this or not, but that'd be really
cool. I have it. I don't champion them too much, but I should. But I think a lot of people are really turning their heads to this monopod. I think I actually heard about this monopod from Cheesy Cam, Mr. Cheesy Cam. Probably one of the best.
Dude, have you seen Cheesy Cam on his Instagram? He got 3 Ursa Mini 4.6Ks.
That guy's insane.
He's investing really into that Ursa Mini system, but I guess he does like production stuff, so I guess he needs it. But 3 Ursa Minis. All right, folks, as we are winding down, if you have any questions that we haven't taken a look at, or maybe you asked a question in the past and we didn't get to it, please go ahead and add them again. Just make sure you add a question mark at the end of your question just to make it easier for us to search them. And we'll probably be on for another, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and we'll try to hammer them out. And right now, we are going to jump back to this Q&A question. I got this message from Nick on Facebook, and he was asking about the fact that he's shooting some weddings, and he's using the Sony a6000, but he's experienced a lot of overheating problems with it, which can be very frustrating. He's asking, since he doesn't necessarily have the budget for like maybe the Alpha 6500, he was asking, would the Panasonic G85 be a much more stable option for something that won't overheat and definitely do the job? So if those of you in the comment section, if you have any comments about maybe the G85 or even the Alpha 6000, sorry, what upgrade path maybe he might look at. For me personally, I think the Panasonic G85 would be a solid option, only because it's a Panasonic. I don't think they're going to overheat very easily. It has in-body stabilization. It has 4K. And yeah, the only problem, it's a micro four thirds mount. So you're definitely going to have to adapt glass to that, Nick, to try and jump into that system. So I don't know if Jason has a lot to offer on that end, but I'll throw it to Jason right now if he has any suggestions.
I don't have a lot to offer. I think what you said, I mean, what needs, well, here, I'm hearing myself. Oh, okay, good. Everything, I don't know. I think you already pretty much covered everything. I mean, like, if you're looking for something a lot stabler than the 6500, G85 is pretty good too. Yeah, I would adapt lenses. I think when it came out, I think a lot of people were kind of using it as a B cam to the GH4. So, and people have commented that the 4K on the 4K and the low light is a little bit better on the G85 than it is on the GH4. Just very little bit. But yeah, for the most part, it should be pretty good. So if you feel like the 6500 isn't working out too well for you, go with the G85.
Yeah, Nick, I've actually gotten that question from another viewer before. They asked about going to the G85. They wanted something more portable and light. And I did tell them to look at the G85 because it's a solid camera, especially if you're in a really warm environment and you just need it to work. Down in the comments section, I forgot AOJ Photography and Videography. What's his name?
Oh, Adrian.
Adrian, right? Adrian's
Adrian,
saying
what's
if you
up, man?
can, save the money up to get the 6500 if you can, but it really depends on the budget situation.
Um,
I know people have been giving him some feedback though, as far as turning off Wi-Fi and things like that about the camera. Sorry, Jason.
so I mean, did you try returning that 6500 and getting a different 6500?
No, he's using an A6000, Jason.
Oh, sorry, A6000. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, give 6500 a shot. I mean, like, I haven't had too much of an issue of it. Yeah, the camera overheats, but it does a better job than the 6300 in terms of like shutting down because it's overheating. But yeah, again, I think you're right. If you are shooting in a very warm environment a lot of times, maybe it'd be better to go with the G85.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go ahead and jump into some other questions that I'm seeing pop up. And hopefully, if you can help out Nick and give us some tips on what he might be able to do, I'd really appreciate that. Help Nick out. Steve asked a little while ago, he said, the Asden EX503, it's not available here. An alternative is the alternative is a Smart Lav Plus into an H1 with adapter, about $100. Or just drop the money on an entire RodeLink kit, or go broke and buy the Sennheiser AVX. Jason, what would you do?
Is the Aspen mics, the Aspen, ASPEN, are the Aspen mics available where you're at? Because that's another good option too. Actually, I would have actually went with the Aspen myself because they do have a stereo lavalier.
He's saying it's not available where Steve's at.
Even the Aspen, because I know he said the Asden.
Oh, got it.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. They sound very similar. My bad. So let me type it out. Aspen. So try this one. I mean, whoops. Please remove any web address and try again. What the heck? I can't post links. .com. Aspen mics. That'd be another good option to look at too. I think a lot of people were recommending this, including Cheesy Cam. So look into this one. Maybe it would be a good option. It's a little cheaper. Like I personally wouldn't go with the Smart Lav with the adapter, only because that's just too much contraption to be carrying and plugging into. I didn't like that, and I think Craig Adams mentioned he didn't like that either. Therefore, he swapped to the Tascam. So yeah, look into this one. I wouldn't recommend the RodeLink because those devices are really bulky. I don't know.
Yep.
I would probably save on the money. Yeah, either balls out, get the Sennheiser, or just go with this cheaper $50 option for the Aspen mics.
Yeah, was it Tascam that had that little portable recorder, and then you can just attach a lav to it? Is it Tascam?
I think it's Tascam. So
I'm not sure if you know.
That's making heads too. I think like Craig did a review, iNamix did a review, and Wedding Film Academy did a review too. So that Tascam DR10 or something, that's working well. Yep. Yeah, DR10L. Yeah, that's another one well too.
I think I was interested in looking one up, and then it sold out after iNamix did a video on it, and everyone was like doing.
So that
it's backward.
I heard they're all saying like it handle like being an auto works really well. So
yeah, I think if you're shooting weddings and you just need that attached to the groom or someone, the officiant, be really handy.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, let's see here. Dave says I came here late. Oh, I'm sorry, Dave.
Dave, sincere. What's up?
More stable. I think the GH5 would be more stable. I haven't used it, but the Alpha 6000, turn off the Wi-Fi, put in airplane mode, that would help. Thanks for those tips there, Dave. Zoom Chris says, did any of you dare come to Comic-Con in San Jose? Dare come to San Jose's Comic-Con, April 21st to 23rd? Said, Jason, forget about NAB. Just go there.
Oh man, I don't know. I typically don't try not to travel out for conventions. We're like not travel out for comic book conventions because I don't know. There's just too much of that going on in LA already. So I feel like wherever I go, it's probably going to be the same. So yeah, I'm sorry, Zoom Chris, I won't be there.
Yeah, I haven't gone to a Comic-Con event, but maybe someday.
It's
maybe
crazy.
someday.
It is super crazy. Oh, by the way, yeah, if you guys are struggling to find models and you have all these nice camera gears, go to Comic-Con and shoot photos. There's so many available models and cosplayers for you to shoot there. So good for practice.
That's actually a really good tip if you just need to get some practice out there, because they're out there for pictures, right?
They're out there for pictures. So I think there's someone in the comment that were just like, was it easy for me to get these cosplayers to shoot? Are they not intimidated by the lights and the fancy camera? I'm like, no, they're there for that kind of stuff. So they're more than willing to have their photos taken. And best of all, they all have business cards. I think nowadays most cosplayers have business cards. So they will hand one out to you. And if you take a photo that they really like, hey, future photo shoot opportunity. They don't even have to be in cosplay.
All right. George Murray says, the G85 should be nice. I use the G7 as a B cam and works well. Yep, Panasonic stuff. That's the thing I got to give it to them. I mean, it's pretty solid stuff.
Yeah, Panasonic is really reliable, in my opinion.
Yeah. Nick Lawrence responded saying that it takes about 23 minutes till his camera overheats.
Ouch. Okay, so it overheats in X80 whatever 1080, right?
The Sony 6000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does XAVCS, I think, if that's the correct naming for it. Zoom Chris says, guys, give the live stream some love. There was 34 viewers a little while ago, and there's only 16 likes. If you could, I'd really appreciate it if you could throw a like in the video and show us some love.
Greatly appreciated.
Jason, what number live stream is this already? How long have we been doing this? It's been like maybe 5 weeks now?
6 weeks? Yeah, this might be like, yeah.
That's some dedication, I would say. Last week was terrible, but
last week was good until you left me. But hey, we don't need to talk about that.
I'm so sorry, Jason. It wasn't supposed to go that way.
I have to say, it's definitely a lot less pressure this week to host a show. So next week I'll be hosting a show on my channel. So come on by again on Monday.
Everyone will be on that when Jason hosts it. So
what's up?
Dave Sincere asked, fellas, how long did it take you to start shooting in manual mode or manual control?
Hey, what?
Jason?
What was the question?
How long did it take you to start shooting in manual? I guess manual exposure, getting that down.
Oh, I just dove right into it. I understood the, I don't know. I have a lot of friends who shot, aperture priority. That's one of the most popular options to go with, but I just went straight manual. I think because I was like, when I was trying to get better at photography, I kept watching Fro a lot. So Fro was always like, go full manual, shoot raw. So that's kind of the mentality that I've always went with. So yeah, I just jumped straight into manual.
Dave, it took me 1 year. It took me about a year. And but once I got that all down, I was just watching videos on YouTube. I became pretty good at it. So, but it did take me about a whole year to get that down. I was just shooting in auto mode a lot in the beginning because I had no idea what I was doing.
Same.
I remember when I first started, I had my T2i and I was trying to shoot the moon, and I had no idea how to set the settings on the camera. But today, I know exactly what to do. I don't even think about it twice. It's crazy, what you can learn in a given amount of time. So I just learned based on purpose. When I needed to learn something, I learned it. I just did research and I got better at it. But it took about a year, for me.
Cool.
Breaking Elegant says, does Ninja Flame still worth it, Jason?
Yeah. I was gonna give a follow-up story to what happened to my flame, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love using the flame. The image quality that comes out of that that monitor. I mean, just being able to see what you're shooting in that crispy 4K quality, it feels different, and I like it a lot. And I try to take it with me whenever I go shoot video. So yeah. So a quick update about that is, you guys know the Ninja Flame dropped in pricing, and I contacted Amazon to do a price adjustment. They wouldn't give me the price adjustment. They would rather me return my monitor and just buy the new one at the new price. And I'm like, and I literally wrote to them. I was like, you could really save me and your handling department so much time if you just give me the $150 back. And I was like, just give me an Amazon credit and I'd be totally cool with it, because I'm going to still use that money to buy other camera gear. You don't have to worry about me taking my money somewhere else. I'm coming back to you guys. And they're like, no, if you want that new price, you're going to have to return the monitor that you have and buy the new one at that new price. So what I ended up doing was I bought another Ninja Flame, had it shipped out to me, and on the same day, I just returned it back to them. I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to package this. I want you guys to get back a brand new product so you guys can sell it back at a brand new price, rather than me packing up my stuff, eat a restocking fee, and you guys selling it at a much lower price. So in my mind, I'm doing Amazon a favor.
Wait, so you bought another Ninja Flame?
I bought another Ninja Flame. Yeah.
But you just basically packaged that one in and said this was the one that you bought initially.
Yes,
and you sent it back.
I sent it back.
That's pretty damn smart. I got to remember that. That is something.
But I wasn't lying to them about it. I literally spelled it out to them what I was gonna do. I was like, hey, look, I'm gonna do this. I'll buy another monitor because that's what you guys want. But I'm gonna send it back as if it was this previous order. And the CSR was like, I have no comment for that. So I'm just like, so that's what you're implying. That's what I'm going to do. So I did just that. So I got credit back. I literally just got the credit back like 20 minutes before we went on live. So I got the Ninja Flame at the new price. So I'm pretty happy about that.
No, that's awesome. I never thought about it that way. So
oh man,
I'll try to keep that in mind.
Because for me to put everything back in its original box would have been such a pain in the butt, especially since I already cracked open the SSD. It's just the value of that whole package just like went down after I opened that box. So
yeah. I would have just mashed it in there and then you would have had a brand new Ninja Flame. But I
didn't worry about that. I was just like, oh, this one works just fine.
Yeah, too much hassle. I agree. Hey, David Osler joined us some time ago. Hey, David. He's been doing some live streams, but I haven't been able to catch him on those. It's been kind of he does them, but not at a time I can see them. Let's see here. Dave Sincere says, guys, I shot an event Friday night. It took me like 4 to 5 hours to edit the 300 or so pictures. How long do you guys spend editing? Jason, how long does it take for you to edit those photos? Just like the ones that you just took at the, what was it, a Comic-Con event?
Okay, so that one took me like maybe 2-3 hours. But Dave, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Is it just an event? Because if it's just an event like a gala or something like that, don't bother editing your photos, man. That's just too much work. Maybe edit like a few of the important group shots, but for the most part, if you're just shooting people having fun, very candid shots, I don't think you should edit those photos because that's just a huge time chunk wasted on. I think even Manny told me for wedding receptions, he doesn't even edit those. He would just edit all the important stuff, prep, ceremony, and the group photos, but reception is just straight out of the camera JPEGs. But that's just me though.
You know, Dave, I shoot thousands of images for sports photography. There's a lot of pictures. I think I mentioned last time I just go through Photo Mechanic and I kind of narrow them down. And I just kind of have like this filter that I just kind of I made like this Lightroom filter that I just apply. And then if there's just some minor adjustment that I need to make, I just apply it. So if you know your photos are very consistent in the way they look, you can just do a filter and just save that look and apply it on all your images. and then just tweak the exposure here and there. That's kind of how I approach it. So I think if you're just starting off and you're just learning, you want to spend 4 to 5 hours. I don't think there's anything wrong with that if you're just starting out. But I think you'll probably start to narrow it down what you exactly need over time. And that's kind of how I would look at it. So yeah, that's the way I would approach it. Kind of build if you're just still starting, just keep practicing, and then eventually you can just narrow it down.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good advice. I mean, that's exactly what I did when I first started shooting events. I literally like went through hundreds of pictures, and I'm just like tweaking everything, and I'm like, man, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, Nick is in the Caribbean, Jamaica, so it's hot all year over there.
Oh,
so
all right.
Nick is a lot of overheating issues.
G85 it is.
G85.
G85 it is, man.
Carrie DOC Hunching said, quick question, your thoughts on the A7R for landscape? I don't shoot landscape, but I would say the A7R would still be good. I mean, 36 megapixel sensor.
That's still a lot of what you can work with.
Yeah.
Pick up a Batis 18 mil. Ooh, you're gonna see so much details.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kara. I just don't shoot landscape, and it's just not an area that I can really give more detail. I think that probably your lens choices are going to be kind of important. Rodell Photo says hashtag can't go wrong with Jason Vong. I agree. I agree. I love that.
We need a slogan for you, Danny. We need a slogan for you.
I don't need one. It's okay.
Make up a slogan for Danny. Make up a hashtag for Danny, guys.
It's like he needs to make YouTube videos. All right, Breaking Elegance. No VidCon? Question mark.
Oh, VidCon. I do want to go to VidCon, but I feel like unless I'm like PewDiePie or Casey Neistat, I don't think anyone's going to go for me. I feel like a lot of the attendees who go to VidCon, just from the videos that I watch, are like teenage girls. I don't think I'm a hit. I don't think I'm a hit with teenage girls.
Maybe if you just tell all the camera people are going to be out there, maybe they can go.
Oh yeah, let me know. I mean, I could be wrong with my assumption that only teenage girls go. Let me know if other people go too.
Maybe the idea could be more about just getting a cluster of YouTubers together that are in the photography community, and then having them come over to meet.
Oh, that's a good idea. It's an
Anaheim. That way you. Oh, Anaheim. Okay.
I think it's in Anaheim. You should come. You should come. It's in the summertime.
Okay. Disneyland it is. All right, here we go.
Okay. it's now decided me and Danny are going to VidCon.
And then Disneyland afterwards, and I can spend that $1 on nothing at Disneyland that we got from Breaking Elegance.
We're going to get some churros at Disneyland, rides, take a picture. We're going to take pictures. Hey, no joke. I really want to do like a camera review at Disneyland just because you can just literally test out so much things from your camera at Disneyland. Stabilization on the rides.
Oh, man.
I don't know why you do that, but parades, the shows. Oh man, low light tests, everything. You can do it all at Disneyland. That would be my review someday at Disneyland.
Let's see here. Zoom Chris says, Danny, you're my guest for Comic-Con. We'll see, Chris. I appreciate the offer there. I think I also have something going on at that time frame. Dave Sincere says, Danny, did you finish the deadline for the yearbook? Yes, I did. We finished. We finished. I left like 10 o'clock that day. It was a sad time. Dave's followed up. Jason Vaughn did very good last week after Danny bailed on us.
Man, I feel like I was talking so
I'm
fast.
so sorry. Forgive me.
No worries. No worries. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a tough time. Dave Sincere says he's on vacation. All right, at Dave Sincere, he's on vacation now. Guys, can you believe the G85 cost me 139,000 Jamaica dollars? Crazy island. Sorry, Nick. You just need to know the formula for shooting in mem mode. Going through the live chat, guys. Let's see.
Ooh, that's expensive.
George Murray says wedding takes me about 16 hours to edit, 1,800 photos roughly. Woo. That's why I like video.
Oh man.
Video's stressful too, though. I mean,
I just finished pre-editing a wedding for my friend. You know that one? Okay, so here's a follow-up to another story. You know how I told you the two 6500s shut off at that wedding ceremony?
oh no. Yeah.
Thank goodness they failed. Well, they failed before the first kiss, and my partner turned it back on. And I think it failed again, but it was after the first kiss. So I was still able to get coverage for the first kiss. So thank goodness. Whew. I can rest.
You are playing with fire, literally.
Oh man, that was bad. But
Dave Sincere edited in Capture One. EC Lundberg says, hoping Sony upgrades the A7 II with touchscreen, better battery life, but doesn't add any weight to it. I saw the post from Sony Alpha Rumors talking about an improved maybe touchscreen, but who knows?
Better battery life is something that I have huge doubt in, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna still use the same old batteries that they've been using. So, which would be a good thing because I don't have to buy new batteries.
I'm personally, for me, I'm okay if they change it if it's going to improve the battery life. If it's going to solve the battery life situation, I'm okay with them changing the battery.
If they can do something where what Panasonic is doing, that the GH5 can still use old batteries, but the newer batteries that come out have better capacities, I'm all for it. But you're telling me to like change to a whole separate mode, a different battery, I'm gonna be so sad.
I like what you're thinking there. If they can improve the capacity in the battery,
yeah,
that would be good. George Murray says he uses Microsoft Paint to edit his photos.
Dang, that takes skill. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be so impressed because that takes a lot of skills.
Jen's Life says Canon GX7 Mark II or the Sony RX100 Mark V. Shooting and videoing my kids.
RX100 V.
Yep, I would say that. It's smaller, more compact. You get that slow motion stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All right, the A7R2 is too big for what I want to travel with. EC Lundberg saying this, and I have the A6000 but want a full frame.
Wait, what? An A7R2 is too big for travel?
There's the Sony RX1R, Sony RX1R2. I mean, if you want full frame,
it's pretty small, man. I don't know.
Sony makes it. The RX1R. It's already, the lens is already built in. It has a 35mm lens, I believe, or a 28.
I heard really good things about it too. I think it's like a 42. It's also 42 megapixels, right?
Yeah, it's just really expensive, and you're kind of locked in with that lens.
Yeah, it's the same price as the A7R2. In my opinion, I mean, I still recommend the A7R2. I memean, it's really not that bad. And the best thing about the A7R2 is that you can put APS-C lenses on this. So if you want to keep it nice and small, you can still put APS-C lenses on this, and this camera will still work great. 15 megapixels, sure, but you want that full frame, I would recommend this.
All right, moving on. Zoom Chris, California guys, the moon outside. OMG, can you guys see it? It's orange. It's huge. I'll take a look later.
I'll see it.
Jason's done. Masillo Jr. says, at Jason Vong, where can I buy that Alpha t-shirt you are wearing? Jason, you need to get some of your own shirts that says hashtag can't go wrong with Jason Vong and throw the Alpha on there.
It'll be on the back. The Jason, the A in my name will be the Alpha logo. But anyways, I should make a video about this.
You should save it for that. Save it for that.
No, but seriously, Sony event at my local camera store. They were passing this out. Actually, no, they weren't passing this out. I think they have very few left, so I was able to get it. But yeah, go if there's any Sony event happening at your local camera store, you guys should go because you get free swags like this. It's the outfit.
All right, George Murray said hashtag Danny's Fanny. Thanks, George. I appreciate it.
That's not good enough.
It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Dave says, I saw that one camera guy's video about the Botis 85 versus the Sony 85. He used Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, in a starring role.
What?
Yes, I use my brother's Green Ranger figurine for the autofocus test. The stabilization.
Okay. I was like, dang.
Let's see.
Like, you got Jason David Frank to be in your video. That's crazy, man.
That'd be pretty funny. Dave Sincere, have you guys ever got kicked out of somewhere because you were shooting?
Yes.
Where was that, Jason?
Oh, okay. I was a couple of years ago. I always get in trouble with Club. Is it still called Club Nokia? Microsoft. It's called Microsoft. I don't know. I think it's called something else now. But back then it was called Club Nokia. It's in downtown Los Angeles, and oftentimes there would be like concerts that are held there. And back for the company that I used to work for, I would do interviews with the fans. You know, try to do like a little fun interview for the YouTube channel. But they're very strict there. They would not let you. They wouldn't allow any sort of filming. So I would have to do it because it's my job. It's part of the job. I have to put a video out. So I would run into issues with the security guard. They would keep chasing me around. Like every time I get caught, I go downstairs. Every time I get caught downstairs, I move back upstairs. And then to the point where they're just like, you need to get out of here or we're going to call the cops on you. So it was pretty bad.
My story, I was recording in a mall. And I was recording a video with my brother about some sneaker pickups. And security mall gave me one warning because I took the camera out. It was a DSLR. He said, put it away. And then I took it out again. And he said, I gave you the first warning. And he escorted me out of the mall. So
oh my God,
that happened there. And then the other instance I mentioned before, I got hit by a baseball at a baseball game. I was in the dugout with the players in that area. And the baseball hit me and the umpire yelled at me. And they told me to leave. But I think they didn't invite that umpire anymore because they were really mad. But anyway, so,
it's more of the job.
Let's see. Dave also got kicked out of a mall. It's so weird. Malls are so protective, even though malls are slowly starting to deteriorate and disappear.
You still go to the mall?
What's up?
You still go to the mall?
Very rarely. Very rarely.
I only go because my girlfriend wants to go to the mall.
Nick Lawrence said, "Hey Danny, didn't know you work on yearbook? That's my profession. I've been doing that 6 years now." Oh, wow. Snap! That's cool. That's cool, Nick. I've been doing it for 4 years, and each year is stressful. Well, it's gotten less stressful. I've gotten smarter. Breaking Elegance asks, and I think we're going to go for maybe another 5 minutes here, guys. I don't know about you, Jason. What do you want to do?
I'm cool. I'm good. 5 minutes. Don't. All right, here we go. I end up staying longer than I need to.
Okay, all right. Breaking Elegance says, Jason, any places to stay in Anaheim for cheap?
I seriously don't know because I live so close to Anaheim. I never had to get a place out there to rent. My girlfriend's saying no because Anaheim is freaking expensive. Because you know why? Because Disneyland is out there. So do your best. If you can find an Airbnb, maybe that would be your best bet. That would be something that I would look into. But other than that, stay out of Anaheim. Where should they go?
Garden Grove.
Go to Garden Grove. Try Garden Grove. Huh? Cities around Anaheim. Don't try to stay in Anaheim. Would be our best advice to you.
Very, very good. Nick said, "What software do I use for designing the yearbook?" He said, "InDesign. I used to use Photoshop, and then the publisher would have some sort of like digital software we would put the files into, but we did switch over to InDesign, which has been much better." George Murray, I ran into those issues with filming. I always have one GoPro shooting 4K. I ran into those issues with filming.
Huh?
I always have one, unless he's talking about your situation. I always have one GoPro shooting 4K, pointing at the groom. And
okay, yeah, we're very arrogant. We don't want to use GoPro. We want to keep everything the same quality. So Yeah, that's just us. We want to keep it Sony.
Dave Sincere, nice. I definitely will visit the local store to find out if free Sony gear is there. Dave Osler, great video reviewing the new Sony 85mm, guys. Thank you for that, David. And that was also towards Jason. Dave Sincere says, the malls think you're taking pictures of people's credit cards and financial info. What's really weird, Jason, is like when you're in a mall, everybody has a camera.
Well, everyone has a smartphone.
Exactly. Everyone has a camera in their pocket already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just their policy. Can't blame them. It's private property. All right. I think I got through all the stuff there, Jason. I don't know. I think we should just jump to the final thing, which is our upcoming projects, and call it a day for our viewers. Folks, don't forget, if you can, I'd really appreciate it if you can give our video a thumbs up. And just FYI, Jason will be hosting the next podcast on his channel. So as far as upcoming projects, I shot some swim again on Saturday, and I was trying to do some stuff with the A6000 and the 55-210. I'm trying to work on a review with the A6000 to show that you can use inexpensive Sony gear to get some really good photos. And I was comparing it with the Alpha 6500 with the 70-200 G Master, which I don't know, comes out to what, like $4,000. So that's like $4,000 worth of gear versus maybe $500 to $600 worth of gear with the Sony, and seeing if you can create the same results. And I think, in my opinion, a lot of parents that are taking pictures of their kids, sports and things like that, would probably want to consider the A6000. And so that's what my video is going to be taking a look at, the upcoming one.
I think that'd be a good video to put out. I think I had like a Asian mom hassle me about that. She was like, 7200 is too heavy for me. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Jason, go ahead. What's your next project you're working on?
So I'm hoping to get the video out tomorrow, but if not, Wednesday at the latest. Pretty much, it's a video autofocus test with the 85 1.8. I don't think there's a review there's not a video really out on that yet. So definitely want to put that out there and let you guys see how well this lens works in video mode as well. So that's coming out on Wednesday. That's Tuesday, hopefully Tuesday, but if not Wednesday.
All right, folks, I think that's going to do it for us. Again, thank you so much to everyone that joined the live stream this evening. Again, we'll be back again next week on Jason Vong's channel, where all the craziness happens.
Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks for joining us again this week.